What if I told you the most iconic line in film history was never supposed to exist? A single word, just 4 letters, almost got the entire movie shut down. Studios panicked. Censors threatened to kill the release. And one man had to fight Hollywood's most powerful system just to keep it in. But here's the wild part. Why was that one word so dangerous? Why were church leaders, theater owners, and even the US government getting involved? And how did the director manage to slip it through at the very last second? You've heard the quote, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." But the story behind it? That's the part nobody ever told you. To understand why one word could threaten an entire film, you have to meet the enforcers behind the curtain. The ones who ruled Hollywood with a clean white glove and a blacked-out pen. They were called the Motion Picture Production Code Administration, but everyone in the industry just called them what they really were, Hollywood's morality police. Led by former Postmaster General Will Hays, the Hays Code was a suffocating rulebook that dictated what could and couldn't appear on American screens. Violence? Only if it was punished. Passion? Only if it was married. Language? Only if it was spotless. These weren't suggestions. They were commands. Violate the code, and your film didn't just get edited, it got killed. No seal of approval? No distribution. No theaters. No money. In the 1930s, even married characters had to sleep in separate beds. Skirts couldn't be too short. Kisses couldn't last more than 3 seconds. And profanity? Unthinkable. And yet, here comes Gone with the Wind. A $4 million production. The most ambitious film ever attempted. Ending with the word, damn. The censors were furious. Letters flew. Meetings were called. Threats were made. The Production Code Administration issued its verdict. Cut the line or lose the approval seal. Without it, Gone with the Wind would be blocked from nearly every major theater in America. Selznick was under siege. He had the biggest film of the decade in his hands, and suddenly, a single sentence was threatening to bring the entire thing crashing down. And yet, he didn't back down. Not even close. Because Selznick had a plan. A dangerous one. And it involved bending the rules, breaking a few, and pressuring the very people who were trying to shut him down. Because someone was about to say no to Hollywood's moral police, and they were not used to hearing that. The pressure on Selznick was suffocating. Weeks before the film's premiere, he was still fighting the Hays office. They refused to budge. Either remove the word damn, or forget releasing the film altogether. And yet, Selznick didn't cave. He didn't rewrite the scene. He didn't offer a compromise. Instead, he opened a law book. You see, while everyone in Hollywood feared the Hays Code, very few actually read it line by line. But Selznick did. And buried deep in the fine print, he found something no one expected, an exception. One single clause that allowed damn or hell to be used only if it was essential to the character or historical accuracy. And suddenly, Selznick had his weapon. There was a clause, rarely used, that allowed certain words if they were taken directly from a historical or literary source, and if they were essential to the dramatic context. Gone with the Wind, of course, was based on Margaret Mitchell's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel. And in the book, the line was there word for word. Selznick pounced. He argued that cutting the line would be changing literature itself, and worse, it would ruin the authenticity of the film's climax. When Gone with the Wind finally hit theaters in 1939, the audience was stunned. Not just by the scale of the film or the sweeping romance, but by that one unforgettable line. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. In an era where films were tightly censored, hearing that on the big screen felt rebellious. Some viewers gasped. Others cheered. But one thing was certain, it was all anyone talked about walking out of the theater. The media exploded. Headlines accused Hollywood of corrupting morality. Church groups staged protests outside cinemas. Censorship boards in at least a dozen states tried to pull the film entirely. But none of it mattered. The line became legendary, and the movie shattered box office records. It was clear. Controversy hadn't killed the film. It had made it a phenomenon. When producer David O. Selznick fought to keep Rhett Butler's infamous farewell, he wasn't just protecting a script. He was making a statement. Art shouldn't bend to arbitrary rules. The Hayes office fined Selznick $5,000, a staggering sum at the time, for the transgression. He paid it gladly, because it wasn't just a line. It was a warning shot, and Hollywood never recovered. Alfred Hitchcock leaned into violence. Marilyn Monroe redefined sex appeal, and Sidney Poitier shattered stereotypes. That one damn didn't just change cinema, it freed it. It proved that audiences wanted stories unshackled from moral policing, that filmmakers could push boundaries, that truth was more powerful than censorship. Today, when we hear an unfiltered curse in a film, witness an unflinching depiction of violence, or see a story that refuses to sugarcoat reality, we're seeing the long shadow of that moment. Because every revolution starts with a spark. And this one started with a single damn word. If you're ready to uncover the scandals, censorship, and forgotten truths buried behind Hollywood's golden glow, subscribe to Hollywood Unforgotten. Because the past was never as innocent as it looked on screen.